China vows to contain corporate debt level as inflation heats up. The country's GDP for 2016 is expected to be around 6.7% as Beijing attempts to maintain solid and more balanced economic growth while avoiding destabilising asset bubbles. Micheal, Dibie and Bridget Ugwe with more details.
China's economy maintained a steady and healthy growth in 2016, indicating a good start for the country's 13th five-year plan period. Head of the National Development and Reform Commission made a remarks at the news conference in Beijing. According to him, the Asian country's economy was estimated to grow about 6.7% in 2016. China's economic growth maintained a proper range and its industrial structure continued to improve. As it is known, our GDP in Q1, Q2 and Q3 was 6.7% and is expected to stay at 6.7% for the whole year. He said they will soon release Consumer Price Index, which is expected to rise above the 2% for the whole year. In the first three quarters, service sector accounted for 52.8% of GDP growth, 13.3 percentage points higher than the secondary industry. Consumption contributed to 71% of the country's economic growth, up to 13 percentage points at the same period last year. The GDP energy consumption dropped about 5%. The emission of main pollutants continued to decline. The world's second largest economic producer price index, which measures costs for goods at the factory gate, reached a five-year high in December. According to the National Bureau of Statistics, the reading rose 5.5% year-on-year, the highest reading since September 2011. China has built an outstanding economic relationship with Africa over the years, and new possibilities for shaping engagement are expected to continue to emerge for some time to come.
Rice is a staple food in Senegal. The West African state produced 950,000 tons of rice in 2016. Poor timing of crop management interventions because of the late arrival of input or delay in harvesting previous crops lead to important losses. Nevertheless, the country's government is aiming to achieve self-sufficiency before the end of 2017. Here is more with Eline Wangalwa and Barbara Lundu.
Senegal's rice revolution is taking shape. The West African state produced 950,000 tons of rice, according to focus from the country's Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Equipment. The record output, even if insufficient to meet the local demand, which is estimated to 1 million tons per year, is, according to Senegal's Minister of Agriculture, Papa Abdoulaye Seck, another step towards food self-sufficiency, which the government has been working to achieve for some years now. The official recalled that Senegal spent each year close to $328 million on rice imports. This represents 62% of the country's cereals imports. Rice is a staple food in Senegal, and therefore the West African nation is keen to boost production of the crop. Senegalese consume an average of 90 kgs of rice per year per capita. Half of this amount per capita comes from the importation of Thai or Chinese rice. To overcome the dependency, Senegal plans to achieve rice self-sufficiency before the end of the year with an output of paddy rice of 1.6 million metric tons. Faced with an increased population and growing urbanization, the development of more production fields of rice has become a necessity. Despite the production opportunities offered by the crop rice farmers, they say they face a number of constraints such as land tenure problems, high development costs, and timely access to quality inputs, in particular seed and mineral fertilizer. Poor timing of crop management interventions because of late arrivals of inputs or delay in harvesting of the previous crops leads to important yield losses. Still, there have been major successes recorded, and the government is optimistic that it will achieve the self-sufficiency before the end of the year.
And that does it for this week's edition. Get interactive via social media platforms, both in English and French. Join us again same time next week.